What is going on, everybody? Coach Stefan here. I have one of our clients, Christy. Christy, do you mind introducing yourself and maybe telling people just a little bit of background on your job and your lifestyle?
Yeah, sure. My name is Christy. I am going to be 46 years old. I own my own accounting practice. I have 540 restaurants that we oversee in my accounting practice. I started out my company 15 years ago in my office, and I now have 44 employees. Um, Clients across the country. We are just moving and shaking, always busy.
Uh,
Tax season just passed. And, these past 2 years really needed to be a focus about my health and resetting myself into a lifestyle that I know I can achieve. It's been challenging. I have 3 kids. They're all in high school. Well, one is in high school, 2 are in middle school. We're just constantly busy.
uh,
My oldest is big into baseball, so we are traveling a lot
yeah,
and rarely home.
yeah, yeah. And so definitely busy, and I think that's good to give people perspective of like, you own this business that's crushing it. Congrats, by the way. And
Thank you.
you have kids in mine's about to be a freshman, so and then a baby. But so I get it. Crazy. Uh and you've been able to make quite the transformation on your own before you came with us. So and the reason I say that too, and I'm pulling up your picture here because I know it had some numbers. Do you mind if I share some of these numbers
Yeah, go
from
ahead.
your transformation? So I
Yep.
know when you started with us in like what, November, December?
Just at the end of December.
December, and it's now
Mhm.
March. So it's been about 3-ish months, okay, that she's been in the program. I know from November 22, you were at like 217. And from that, about a year went past and you dropped about 20 pounds ish, right? 20,
Yep.
30 pounds.
Yep.
And the picture that I'm looking at, you guys can't see, but it's just a lined up of her transformation of her, losing the weight. And it's awesome. I know you shared on social media and tagged us, and you went down to about 191. And then since the last 3 months, you got to about 175.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing too, and I know your coach Bryce, he's our head coach for Pursuit, is like, man, she did this in tax season, like crazy busy. Even the last 3 weeks or so, he said you haven't really been able to train, but you've continued to lose weight just because of your nutrition.
Yeah.
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 Um, how like I mean, besides the weight loss, which is awesome, what other things have you seen? I mean, you only been in the program for 3 months, but what big shifts have you seen?
Well, I would love to say my energy levels have shifted, but being as I'm just coming through tax
Yeah,
season, I'm just rebuilding
yeah,
the
yeah,
energy levels. So, but I know, having been in a yo-yo weight
yeah,
loss before, I know now that tax season's past me, I'm really going to feel the energy again. And I'm sleeping a whole lot better since joining Pursuit. That has been huge. I usually have a bewitching hour anywhere between 1:30 a.m. and 3 a.m. I would get up and I could not sleep. My mind was always racing. I have a lot that goes on,
yeah,
with my work and with
yep,
the kids and all their schedules. Um, that I never was really sleeping through the night. And ever since joining Pursuit, that has been like top priority for me.
yeah.
And I'm actually getting a good solid amount of sleep, and there is no bewitching hour. So I think of the biggest non-weight loss stuff, actually sleeping through the night has been huge. And I mean, I have not slept through the night in probably 20 years.
That's awesome. I mean, and that's huge. I mean, you lost what, 15, 16 pounds, which is also like really good. But probably a combination of like training more, being more conscious about your nutrition, just your health
Mhm.
habits. And, as a business owner and mom of three, your energy is important. You got to protect it, right?
Yeah.
And so the improved sleep, have you noticed? I mean, I know you touched on this, but have you noticed like a huge shift in just like how you feel throughout the day?
Yeah, for the most part. Again, I think in the beginning, definitely, before tax season hit, because these last 3 weeks have just been really brutal.
Yeah.
But prior to tax season, like I know, like, even just getting to the gym was maybe just a little bit difficult to get there, but really once I got into the swing of I have a program, I know what I'm doing when I get there. It kind of took a little bit of the overwhelmingness away
Yeah.
from going to the gym, because I was just like, all right, I'm going to the gym. I'm doing the same exercises that I
Yeah.
know how to do on the machines. Um, but actually doing free weights and actually feeling confident to get over to the free weight section, and have a program that is like dialed into, this is what I want you to do when you go to the gym. This is how many reps you need to do. Having a plan was 1,000% what I needed when going to the gym. So I know I felt a lot more confident going to the gym, and I felt good about going. I wanted more days added to my calendar
Yeah.
after like really getting there. And I told Bryce that. And then I was like, wait a second, tax season starting. And then it was
Yeah.
like, don't go at all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad you said that because I think, and this is both for men and women, but we do see a little more in women is like, hey, I'm just gonna go to like what I was comfortable in. Like I'm gonna go to the
Yeah.
treadmill, I'm gonna go to the machines, and now you're
Mhm.
kind of building the confidence to go to the free weight section and doing it and seeing progress in there. And for somebody, and I'm probably the same way as far as busy mind, when you have too many options, it could be a bad thing. And so
Yeah.
sometimes going and be like, no, this is what you're going to do. And it's directed. It's easier to execute, right? Like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym. I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go in, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go out. And I know that that was designed around me. Like that was for
Right.
my goals and kind of what I could do. How's
Yeah.
that process been? Like having your coach build a program that is designed around you, like your physical capabilities, your goals, your schedule. How's that been the last 3 months?
It's been awesome. And I really enjoy being able to say, hey, like that one kind of hurt my knees a little bit. What can we do? And we would just taper that particular exercise to
Mhm.
accommodate maybe areas, that our 40-year-old bodies maybe need to readjust to
Yeah.
for not having been active for some time. Um, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it, being able to talk to him about it, even though he's not physically there, and seeing what I can or cannot do. It's been great to have him push me like, okay, it's time to increase the weight a little bit
Yeah.
because you've kind of been staying at the same
Yeah.
weight. So just, pushing me beyond that comfort level as well, like to remind me, like, you're here to push yourself. Just
Yeah.
keep going and don't settle at your 15 pounds, move to
Right.
20 now because you can. So that's been great. And it's been nice to be able to talk to him when I need to, like just shoot him a quick message about XYZ of whatever may have happened in my workout that day. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate that feedback. The way that I look at what we do is it's a collaborative relationship, right? Like it really is that push pull and feedback. Like, how's this? I mean, like just like the check-ins every week. How's your program going? What's working well? What's not working well? We're always kind of checking on you to make sure that you are in that good spot, and that's both with your training and your nutrition. It sounds like you've had a lot of open line communication where you can give feedback, and he'll change things that kind of can accommodate you, which is good to hear because that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And you've had in-person training before. How do you feel that like what this offers? Like obviously we do everything A to Z, training, nutrition, supplementation, scheduling, mindset. How do you feel from like doing in person versus this? Because you had in person before COVID, right? Like did some.
Yes. Yep.
What's the difference for you? Like what was that experience?
I feel like I have a little bit more accountability with the reminder of getting to the gym. I was only seeing my trainer once a week. Whereas this, like, and she would send me what my homework was, but like, I don't know, it was just really easy to get off track and maybe like shorten the time I was there because I was in a rush to get out. But really having that accountability of like how many sets I need to complete, what my reps are, and marking it done
Yeah.
has really kind of helped me keep myself on track and at the gym during the time that I should be there, instead
Mhm.
of trying to cut out early, instead of trying to skimp on the program, and just being able to have that dialogue with them on a daily basis or when I need it,
Yeah.
has been really crucial. And as far as the nutrition aspect, that has been, I think, the biggest piece of the puzzle for me, because I didn't know, a lot of like, okay, it's time to reset your body a little bit. We've had those conversations, Bryce and I, about, okay, we took you down from 1800 to 1700 calories. But at some point we might have to reset, bring your calorie count back up.
Yeah.
And then, like these are all things I never knew
Yeah.
prior to coming here. And that's been huge too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I mean, like, Bryce and me and the other coaches like have trained for years and years and years in person. And it's not that I even think in person is the worst thing in the world, but most trainers don't do nutrition. And even if they do, there's not really a way they can track the way that we can online, right? Like
Right.
even for the gym that we had in Arizona, we treated people hybrid. So they're actually a full online client and then they would come in person. And the reason that I was like, no, we have to do it that way is because of the nutrition aspect. Like when we can see what you're eating every day, and when you're doing a reverse diet, right? You go down to 1700 and then we got to start adding it back in. It has to be pretty accurate. Like, we can't just say eat healthier or eat more. It's so arbitrary, right? We have to have some
Right.
data, we have to have numbers. And so a lot of the in person I see is people will go get an in person trainer, coach, and they'll even go 3 days a week or 2 days a week. And that's like, okay, you're solving that, but you're not solving the nutrition. And this, you're a testament to this. Nutrition is so big, 60,
Yeah.
75% of the
Yep.
way your body looks, right? That's how you've been able to say, hey, it's like the end of tax season. I'm swamped. I can't train. Fair enough. Let's stick to your nutrition because you still got to eat. And you've been doing it and still losing weight. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's that important. And so I'm totally on board with that. I think if you were to survey 100 Americans and say, well, what's worse? What's more challenging for you, the exercise or nutrition? Most of them are going to say the nutrition. But then when
Hmm.
they go to get in-person training, it's like, it's not solving that. And that's the biggest component. So I'm glad that that's been a big shift for you.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel that it's been with the lifestyle you have? Because I'm sure some people go, okay, she's made good progress. She's really busy, but like, I'm sure you're at the gym every day. I'm sure you're eating just salads and chicken. How's that? What would you say to
Yeah.
that?
So, no, I'm not just eating salads and chicken. I actually still dabble a little bits here and there with Chick-fil-A every once in a while. It's really just staying in that calorie and protein. But I've become super aware of those things. So
Mhm.
do I choose the chicken sandwich over the mac and cheese? Yes. But the mac and cheese does have really good protein count in there. But when I'm trying to lose weight, I'm not trying to overeat on the mac and cheese, even though I love it so much. But I have been able to balance it a lot more. I did find a meal program. They actually just launched nationwide very recently. But that has been super helpful to me as well.
Awesome.
Just kind of keeping my calorie count and my protein count has been really able to stay in check because of them.
Good.
But I've been able to, like, I now see a piece of steak and I know what 4 ounces looks like, and I
Yeah.
now know what 8 ounces looks like, and I know that 12 is too much. And I know,
Yeah.
like, I now know, like, the more that I've been really paying attention to my calories and my proteins, I see it on the plate now, whereas before I was brought a plate of food and I had to eat all of it because that's what mom and dad taught me. You eat everything before you get up
Yeah.
from your plate, but you're not realizing how big that plate really is and what that calorie count really looks like. And just having to have that calorie count and the protein counts, kind of, those are the two numbers I'm dialing in on every week. That's been super helpful. And I do like that you guys, one thing that you guys have done that I don't think I've ever done ever before, was the 20% over under of our goal weights. So that's been really helpful for me because there's times I find myself like, okay, I know where my 20% is. I'm only
Yeah.
going to get myself there. And I do it consistently where I'm still like gold star for the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not pushing myself over my calorie count, or I might do that throughout the week knowing that I'm going to cheat a little bit on the weekends, and go out to dinner with my friends. So I'll kind of, that's been really nice to be able to see that over under on the calorie counts, and not like it's 1500 and that's what you're staying with.
Yeah.
Well, 1200 is too low for what I'm doing in my program.
Yeah.
So, I might have said, well, they said 15, I'm going to keep it 1200, but 1200 doesn't give me that 20% over under. It's just too low. So I feel like that has been really helpful for me to understand how the calories you're putting in is helping me build my metabolism back up. So that has been really huge for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do that. I have some clients where I only do like a 10% variance. I'm a little more strict. I've been working with them a long time. But yeah, I mean, what she's talking about too, for those listening, is like, we don't expect perfection. We have some variance when we're a little bit off, but it's like, hey, you got close. And if you can get close, like over time, like it builds up to make insane progress. And it allows you to be a little more flexible. And it's so cool to hear you be like, hey, I know I can have a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And it's crazy too, because the analogy that I like to use, and you could probably respect this being an accountant, is it's like money, right? I think people go their whole lives and they never look at the price tag of food, right? Like when we go shop, usually we're like, how much does this cost? And we're looking at things and we're looking at the menu. Okay, do I want to get that burger? But then when we go eat, we just eat. Like we don't have any idea of like what's
Yeah.
in it or how much it like cost calorie wise. We're just like, oh, this sounds good. This sounds good. This sounds good. It's like swiping the card. And then you look at your account and you're like, oh man, that's not good. Right. So it's like,
Right.
if we can take a little more accountability and we're used to like looking at foods, we can make better decisions when we don't have the menu or the macro breakdown on it. We're like, oh, it's probably around this much. And it sounds like it hasn't been restrictive to you really. And I
No.
would all argue for a lot of people. I think if we really break it down, it actually gives you more freedom, because
Yeah.
not normally before it's like you would eat something, you kind of feel like crap about it. Maybe like I feel guilty later on and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have ate that. But now it's like, hey, you're planning to go out to date night or to go eat this stuff with your girlfriends. And you're
Yeah.
like, no, like it fits. I earn it. And I'm sure that's probably been a shift for you too, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I really enjoy that, because I'll just say, okay, I'm kind of banking it up because I
Yeah.
know I'm
Yeah.
going to go out with my girlfriends on Saturday. So that's been really nice. And I do attribute having that over under to really help me be able to balance those things out during our busy weeks. Knowing what I need to be pulling. Okay, if they're going to have that, then I'm going to have this.
Yeah.
And I really have not been limiting myself on food types, because I'm not a salad eater
Yeah.
at
Me either.
all. I don't really like salad, or anything green for that matter. Um, but I like chicken, I like steak, I like
Yeah.
shrimp, I like eggs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's always something.
Well, that's important too. And like and for those of you that are listening, it's like I, and then Bryce, I'm sure told you this. If you have a meal prep company or whatever that works well for your meal thing, do that. We are not dogmatic, right? We are not like, you got to do this and you have to follow our thing and you got to eat this recipe guide. No, like we do portions, right? So your macros and
Right.
your portion sizes, whatever you can fit in there, fine. Like I'm actually taking the whole team to a sushi buffet on Wednesday, and I'm probably going to eat pretty low carb on Tuesday. Wednesday morning, I'm going to eat really light so I can stuff my face.
Right.
And after that, I'm not like, oh my God, this was a bad thing. Like, no, I like saved up for it. And it's crazy because as adults, we do that for money. We're like, we're going on vacation in a month. Let's just cut back because we're gonna kind of splurge. And it's like we do that in all the other areas, which is really balance. But when it comes
Right.
to food, I think it is the missing component. So it's cool to watch people kind of learn how to do that. I feel like it's giving me more freedom. And we just did 20, 25 interviews this week. I've heard the same consistent things from all the clients. And you've made progress. I mean, we look at the numbers and the facts, like you've lost body fat and you've gotten stronger while doing this. So it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, like yeah, that's fine. That's a good thing. No, it works. The data is there to prove that it
Yep.
works. Uh,
Definitely.
what would you say you haven't been in the program that long, but you've crushed it so far. What would you say your biggest takeaways are besides obviously the information on nutrition?
Um, Consistency at the gym. I find myself, harping on my freshman baseball player about consistency, and that's what your coaches need to see.
Yeah.
And I think for me, a lot of what this program has helped me with is uh not just saying it,
Mhm.
putting it as part of something that I need to do. And my son has actually seen me really putting in the work that I'm always on him about.
Yeah.
So for me to have an athletic son and for him to see me doing the same things, staying consistent with it, that has been a huge change, I think, for all of us. And I think his attitude going into this spring season, hey, mom's doing it too. We're doing it together,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's been really huge.
Yeah. I know I don't know. My son's gonna be 14, and I think he probably feels the pressure. Well, like obviously I'm a fitness coach, so he's
Right.
he's at that age where he's starting to get interested in the gym, and we have a pretty nice home gym, and he's like, all right, I got to go in. And I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So,
Right.
as that parent too, we know this kids, we could do this all day long, but they watch what
Yep.
we do and they see the actions and
That's
they're going
right.
to be like, okay, all right, mom, respect. I see you.
Yep.
So that's a really cool shift.
Yeah.
My last question would be, you've never worked with an online coach before us. That's the biggest barrier. And we work with, I would say 65, maybe even 70% of our clients first online coaching experience. And I think this is a newer thing. It really got more popular in 2019, 2020. And I think a lot of people are really hesitant with doing online for whatever
Hmm.
reason. They're like, how would that work? Like, I have to have a trainer in person. Like, I don't get that. What would you say to that person that's like doubting the effectiveness of an online coach in this program specifically?
So I actually went into this saying that same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I need somebody to make sure I meet them there at the gym.
Yeah.
That's how I felt I really needed. But I said, you know what? Everything has changed during COVID. I got to give it a shot. And then interviewing with you guys prior to actually getting signed on to the program, I was like, okay, these guys really kind of have it together. They get it. There's accountability in the program, using my Fitness Pal for the calorie counting, and just having my exercise regimen set up for me. I said I have to at least give it a shot because everything else has changed. In the restaurant industry, which is
Yeah.
what my bookkeeping is, we went from 75% in person restaurants to like the third party platforms for
Mm,
DoorDash, Uber Eats, like that changed everything. And
yeah.
we're like under 50% actually going into our fast food restaurants. And if every other type of industry has had a shift, I've had a shift. I went from everybody was here based in New Jersey to I have more remote employees than I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I never had remote employees before COVID. So
Yeah.
for me, it was okay. All these other types of companies have had some sort of shift with COVID. I got to at least give it a shot. And I really enjoyed, everything that Brace was explaining to me about your program. And I said, well, I'm just going to give it a shot. And I'll be honest with you, it's probably better than any in person I've done one in person, and this is far exceeds
Yeah.
anything I have experienced before.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's awesome feedback. I appreciate that. And I would say that there's probably 20 or 30 people in our program now that I can think of the top of my head that have done in person. Same thing. I mean, really what it comes down to too is I don't want to dive too deep, but when you look from the industry standpoint, just like you're a genius in your industry, when I look back at like what created the most successful people way back when, and technology just had to catch up, like the bodybuilders and stuff were kind of doing the same thing. They would go in, work out with their trainer or whatever, but it was only like one day a week and they give them a really meticulous program. Like, hey, when you go to the gym, this is exactly what you're doing. Here's exactly what you're eating. And it was all through paper, pen and pencil back then. But now it's through an app where it's the same concept. So you like know the workouts you're doing, the sets, the reps, the notes are in there. So it's very directive. It is pretty data driven. And then the technology allowed us to have the accountability portion. Cause like you said before, like you could sit there and say, oh, go do these workouts, but it is easier to cut them short. And I know I program myself through the app. So sometimes when I'm sitting down at the computer and I program it and then I go in there, I'm like, man, I probably would have like cut this, but it says I have to do 12 reps. So I'm doing 12 reps.
Yep,
Or
exactly.
man, 90 seconds goes by fast when you hit that start on the rest timer. I probably would have been chilling here for 3 minutes. So yeah, it definitely like holds you accountable at the pace and then the nutrition aspect. And um, how do you think the, how do you think the customer service communication experience has been like in the last couple months?
Awesome. It has been very good. If I reach out to Bryce, I have an answer within 24 hours, like less than. And there's never really like I'm waiting. I'm never waiting
Yeah.
for stuff. And it's not overbearing communication either.
Yeah.
Which I like, you know, with me being so busy in tax season. It's nice that, you know, he puts the pressure on when I needed to. And then
Yeah.
he was like, all right, it's tax season. I'm just going to let you do your thing. Just check in with me every week like we
Yeah.
normally do. And, you know, yes, your exercises are there, but don't stress about it. Cause in the beginning I was like, but I'm not getting my stuff done. I'm not checking off the boxes. And I was getting really like, it was really on me. And then he was like, let it go. You just have to let it go right now. This is your time that you have to dive into that. So
Yeah.
you know, but I'm really excited to get back into it. So but
Yeah.
the communication has been awesome. He's been really great.
Yeah. And we do have it, very systematized and we're, there's there's a million online coaches. There really is now. Like if like everybody that has an Instagram that's like, oh, I'm an online coach. But we've been doing this for a while and have helped a lot of people. And so we do kind of have it down to like, hey, you're going to check in with all your clients 3 times a day. And, we have systems and processes to make sure our communication is good and our customer service is good. But it's a mindset too. And we want to treat you like your own person. So it is getting to know, I know Bryce has got to know you on a personal level to
Mhm.
just talk to that mindset, right? Like it's okay right now. It's okay. We're doing this. And sometimes I have a coach and I feel like I need that, like somebody to kind of talk me off the ledge a little bit or like, hey,
Yeah.
no, but I have to do this. No, you're good. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm glad that that took place.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's been a great experience for you so far.
Yes.
Obviously you've done really well and hats off to you. Like nobody's made you do it. You have a very
Thanks.
busy lifestyle, mom of 3, business owner, like you could easily not do it. You're not even like want to invest in the program and you've been putting in the work and we're really proud of you. And so I know your family's proud of you, your spouse, everybody, but you should be super proud of yourself because
Thank you.
you're the one going to the gym. You're the one doing it. Nobody's making you. Our job is to obviously educate you, guide you, motivate you, give you the plan, but nobody can do it for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate you jumping on and sharing your experience. I look forward to you continuing to crush it. And then yeah, we'll see you on the inside, okay?
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.